I am in the top, I found out yesterday, 0.02% of realtors in the country. But most people had a shit year. Something crazy, 70% of realtors did not do a single deal in 2024 or 2025.
That's wild.
Hi, Vera.
Hi, how's it going?
Going well, thank you. And I have a question. So you go by Vera, not whatever the D initial is, obviously.
Yes, I actually go by Vera.
Beta. Okay.
Yeah, it's my mom's surname.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my first initial stands for Diana, which is my first name, but I started going by Vera in high school.
Beta. Okay. Yeah. And how do you pronounce your last name?
Clays.
Just like Clays, but with an E in there that somehow. Okay.
I know, it's Flemish. It's like, I don't know, migration, you
Yeah.
know? And how do you pronounce your name?
Just Andrea.
Andrea. Okay.
Yeah.
I've met some Andreas
Oh,
and
there are tons of us out there, and half of my life people have called me Angela. So, there you go.
I love that's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're wanting to do. You want to get into real estate, it sounds like.
Yes, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Sure.
It's so generous of you, and I really appreciate it. I know that I'm just a complete stranger, so
Yeah, that's okay.
thank you. So, a little bit about me. My background is in events, event planning, event production. I kind of just fell into it. I mean, when I was in college, I really I didn't have the spontaneity maybe that other people did. Like I was like, I don't want to be eating cans of beans. Like, I don't want to take a free internship and then have to figure out how I'm going to sustain myself. So
Right.
I just kind of like played it safe and I fell into the world of events. It just so happened that I was living in Austin and South by Southwest is a festival where they have,
I know it very well. When I'm not doing real estate, I am a theater producer and director.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
I
have a
read
lot of
your bio.
friends that speak at places like South by Southwest. So,
Yeah. Okay, so and so I was like, well, okay, I was so young, I hadn't been exposed to the festival. So I just like they had internships that were paid and then well, that's not true. I volunteered and then I got an internship and then one thing led to another and I was in events and event planning and then before you know it, you blink and it's been like 12 years and you've just been doing that.
right.
And so then I became an executive assistant to the dean at the School of Education. And I did that for a couple of years. It's like similar. I mean, I think it's like event planning. It's the same type of brain, but you're just like using those same skills in a different way. So more meeting minutes and management in real time, which I don't mind at all. I think I'm actually quite good at, but it's difficult and daunting when it's like 40 people at the same time breathing down your neck in a
Mhm.
room, in one, like, and they're all in the same room, that. And then in April of this past year, I lost my job.
I'm
And
so sorry.
thank you. It was the first time that I hadn't been working since I was 17. So it kind of, yeah, it like affected my mental health. I didn't really
Oh, hell yeah.
I wasn't prepared for it at all. And I just took the summer to kind of ground and really think about, okay, maybe I don't need to just jump into the next job out of like survival mode. Like, could
Hmm.
I do, so then I started doing production assistance and I was like driving around 18-foot box trucks and in atmospheric rivers and doing like crafty tables and
Hmm.
crafty and just kind of like taking a moment to breathe and seeing like what my strengths are and seeing what my weaknesses are and trying to figure out like I was hoping I was like I wish God would just like part the clouds come down from the heavens and be like this is your north star
Right,
and I
right,
had to
right.
accept that like I have to do that for me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I had a few conversations with friends. I've never been exposed to real estate. I have no idea like what it is. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a a bar owner, and he was like, have you ever thought about hospitality in hotels, or have you ever thought about real estate? And I was like, no, I've never thought about either of those things. And he's, you know what I think that it might behoove you to kind of think about that, because usually it's people who think that it's like easy, like it's going to be like an easy thing. There's no schlepping, there's no grinding. They're the ones who like, they're like, oh, well, I'll just do real estate. And he's like, the fact that you said that you've never thought about it means that maybe you should try it out. And like, because what's happening is I've been working 10-hour days being a PA, and those paychecks are not reflecting.
Where are you working being a PA out of curiosity? What sort of production assistance are you doing?
So I'm doing commercial photo shoots.
Mm.
I'm working with a woman named Sadie Callahan, and her
Mhm.
production company is called Purple Productions. And I did a 49ers and US Bank commercial, Marie Claire magazine in Los Angeles. As of the last one I did was for Wayfair,
Mhm.
Balsam Christmas trees. They're the ones who do all the artificial Christmas trees for like Macy's.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I mean, because by the way, it's the job that you have right now at the production that people die to get those jobs. You do know that.
Yeah,
And most of them are people that want to be doing what your boss is doing, and they get into it so that they can supersede the person that they're working for.
totally.
And you don't have any desire to actually produce commercials and things like that.
No.
Okay. Okay. It's so funny because like it's just interesting to me because I know, a ton of young people in Los Angeles who would die to be doing what you're doing. And yet you want to jettison it. The worst time in real estate, by the way, for you to be thinking about doing this.
Really?
Well, it's been a very challenging last few years. I am in the top, I found out yesterday, 0.02% of realtors in the country.
That's wild.
And it's very typical for people in real estate to do a deal a month, which by the time you get the money when you're a baby agent, let's just say hypothetically that the original commission is $20,000. Sounds like a lot. What's going to happen is most places you're going to work, 6% comes off the top automatically, then whatever your split is. So your split as a young agent would probably be in the range of 60 to 70%. So another 30 to 40% comes off at that point. And then you have your own expenses, which are things like errors and omission insurance, which are usually somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $3,000 a year. And then you also, and some brokerages make you pay that up front at the beginning of the year. Some let you do it per deal while you're brand new. You can negotiate those kinds of things. Then you also have your real estate dues, which are in the range of $2,000. If you only belong to one association, then it's just $2,000. I personally belong to three, so mine is $6,000, and I also pay for two assistants who belong to the same ones. So you're going to have at the beginning of the year, you usually have a lot of really intense costs in real estate because all of the memberships are due, all of your errors and omission are due usually. There's some heavy lifting that happens, and usually realize too, if you get something in contract, it usually takes 30 to 45 days to get the money from it. Most brokerages now just deposit money into your account right away at the close of escrow, but some take a week or two to get the money to you, depending on where you go. So it's never immediate. So you always have to be planning a pipeline of money coming in. Like I'm very fortunate because I've been doing this for so many years, but I closed 4 deals in January, but in the last part of January, I was directing a play. So I have taken my foot off the gas for a month, which means that February I will probably have no closings. I will jam on closing, things in February, but the reality is that you are only as good as how many things you have going on that pull you into the future, right? So that's the reality of the money. So that $20,000 usually in your situation is probably going to become about 50% of what it was. And that's decent. It's not horrible. You also have to remember that as an independent contractor, you're taxed mercilessly, so you have to deduct business expenses against it, and I'm sure you've done that before in your life. So The $10,000 effectively is around $7,000 by the time you've deducted expenses around it, like your gas and your mileage and things like that. Also, the very beginning of a real estate career, most people are working primarily with buyers. It's incredibly labor intensive. Remember all those 40 people in the room you were talking to me about? Okay, one buyer is like 40 people in a room. Okay, the buyers are there. They want it. I just want you to be aware that it's not going to be any easier than any of the event planning you've ever done before. It's not going to be any easier than anything that you've been doing on the production end of things. One thing is, and there's no instant gratification in the way you get paid. So
I'm not looking for easy and I'm
mhm,
not looking for instant gratification. If I was, I'd be like my
you'd get a job.
yeah, to get a job.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm just looking for
yeah.
something where I'm able to incorporate more of my interests and my skills. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I know that you have to have grit for this type of role and for this type of career. And I just wasn't fulfilled in my previous roles in that way. I
Mhm. Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Real estate is, I mean, if you actually really like houses and architecture and enjoy looking at all that stuff, real estate, it's a great, I mean, I've been doing it for 28 years. Now, that's the other part of the problem is that you're going to come up against old battle axes like me in your travels. So don't be under illusions about how you're going to walk out and the very first thing you're going to do is list a $3 million house. So stay humble in what it is you want to do. Stay grounded in the notion that people that are buying less expensive places are like those imperious $5 million people. They're used to everybody jumping whenever they snap their fingers. When you close a $500,000 condo, the buyer sends you a bouquet. When you close a $5 million house, they want you to buy them a refrigerator. It's very different. So I would say with, where you're in Kensington, right?
Yes, I live at the Calusa Circle.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Kensington is a nice little hamlet. There's not enough business for you to just exclusively do that, but you could certainly do Kensington, Albany, Berkeley. But to stay in the more humble price point for the beginning stages until you know what you're doing. Getting a real estate license is like learning how to drive a car. You
Okay.
don't know anything when you get your real estate license. And it's fraught. There are more lawsuits now than there have ever been before. So, just be mindful that you have to really, really dot your I's and cross your T's when you're doing real estate at any sort of a level. If you're selling $1 million houses, make sure you document everything, that you truly go over disclosures with them, that you don't gloss over problems of any kind, that you are constantly on the lookout, and you should be doing this anyway, but that you're constantly on the lookout for anything that could turn into anything. Just be mindful. You probably will do nothing wrong and end up in a lawsuit at some point. I'm like time-lapse photography because I do so many deals. I've done over 1,000 transactions. So I've had 5 lawsuits, but that's over 1,000 transactions. That's like nothing.
Pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Most people are going to have a lawsuit in their career, and it's really devastating. And you just have to remember it's not you, it's somebody else. There's this great book called The Four Agreements that I always recommend people read
okay.
because it teaches you to remember that it's not you, it's the other person's stuff. As long as you're impeccable with your word and you treat people kindly and, move on, move with grace through the world, it's not really your problem. It's somebody else's problem. Don't get mired in negativity because it can subsume you. It really can. So I would say now you haven't even gone to school yet, have you?
No, so I am not trying to take shortcuts or like jump the
Hmm.
gun or anything like that. That's why this conversation with you is so important because it's like, okay, like tell me what it is. Like tell me what
Yeah.
it is and tell me what it ain't. I need to know like what am I really working with here so that I can have
Yeah.
like a feasible goal based in reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
So,
I guess my a question that I have for you is like what should I be doing? And also like I am not afraid to just start from the bottom. Like I'm
yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah. So, what I would do if I were you, most people take their classes online. And you can do that. But what is really useful is to take a real estate class at like a junior college or, community college,
Oh,
because it's usually the teacher is a jaded old realtor who's out of the business now. And usually there's like 40 or 50 people that are all hardworking people that have families already that are thinking about having a career change. And it's really useful to hear what other people say. It's really useful to be in a class situation. I did my real estate training at San Francisco City College, and it was really helpful to be in a class situation because, scenarios came up. People role played with one another. It actually, it took a semester or a quarter at that time, so it wasn't like I did all the classes in 1 week and suddenly had my real estate license, but it really cemented for me the kinds of things that could come up and was truly useful when I had to go take my test, what have you. I would also say don't get your broker's license. A lot of people will tell you to get your broker's license. I've never gotten my broker's license. And the reason why is, once again, to do with the law. When you get your broker's license, you're held to a higher standard of knowledge. If you're going to work through a major company like, for example, Compass, where I work, they already have a broker of record. They have a retinue of attorneys at the door. They have all of that stuff to protect you from, any errors and omissions that you might have, failures to disclose, any of those kinds of things. And if you end up in a bad lawsuit of some kind, no one holds you to the standard that you should have known better. If you have your broker's license, however, and you're out on your own, all of that can come crashing down on you.
oh,
And if you decide to go out on your own as a broker and have your own individual company, unless you have really massive funds behind you, people
whoa.
can get destroyed by lawsuits.
Okay.
So that's number two. I would also suggest that you, besides taking a class with actual people, I would suggest that you go to a big brokerage at the very beginning of your career. And then as you get to know what you're doing, which will take at least 3 to 5 years, really, once you get to that point, you could decide, hey, I want to work with Side, have them help me do a little boutique company myself. Side is a company, by the way, that allows realtors to create companies. Like District Homes is actually a side brokerage property. You know of it as its own brokerage, which it is, but Side is the brokerage behind that, and that's where the retinue of lawyers and the money and the errors and omission insurance and all of that good stuff actually come from. So there are ways that you can sort of create a boutique office for yourself working through a company like that. It won't be profitable enough unless you were to find like another 5 or 6 agents at least to work with you there. But but that would be a way to do that sort of thing. But I would really suggest going to a place where people actually can help you at the beginning. A
Kind of
Coldwell
roles,
banker.
sorry. What kind of roles would I be looking for?
What do you mean roles?
So like you're saying I should go to the brokerage offices and like work with them?
Well, you would get your license and then you would go to a brokerage office and you would ask them to take you on. Now, it's kind of a convoluted situation in real estate because you are an independent contractor. However, they have the right to hire and fire you. So it's complicated. That's why continually it comes up in different times where people try to make realtors employees. We never ever want to be employees. We want to be independent contractors. It's not,
Okay.
but so let's say you go to Coldwell Banker and you talk to her. It's quite possible Bonnie Keel is the broker of record in this area. By the way, Compass now owns everybody. So overall, it's a Compass company. Compass doesn't, Compass only takes the top 2% of agents in the country to be in Compass unless they are on a team. You could get into Compass being on a team, and that would be a great way to go, actually. I would suggest being on a team for the same reason that I suggest taking an actual class as opposed to doing it online.
Yeah.
If you get onto a team, you'll have kind of like a family of people that you're dealing with. They will also give you leads. They will also ask you to do things. You'll learn how to do stuff. And you'll make whatever percentages that you negotiate with the team leader. For example, Philip and Kai, who work for me, how I pay them, I don't have payroll with them. I pay them 20% of every deal that I close that they work on. And when they close a buyer deal, I get a 35% referral. So it could be that you're getting 60% of whatever their split is with. Usually when people are team leads, they're at the top of the heap. So they're usually at a 90% split or something. So it's not that big a hit, but figure their split and then whatever it is that you have to pay them before you get paid once again. And it takes a little while to usually people filter through teams in about 2 to 3 years. It's the same thing with good assistants. I find that I get a great assistant and they leave because they think they will do what I'm doing. And then about half the time I get a phone call a year later going, "Oh my God, this sucks." But in any case, I think you would have the ability and the determination to do it. I think the big thing is making sure that you are consistent in your lead generation.
Okay.
Don't buy Zillow leads. Don't buy leads from other places. It's hard to get started without doing that, but they're very expensive and they're addictive. And basically, I used to buy $90,000 a year of Zillow leads, and then I would make about $90,000 from the $90,000 that I paid out.
So,
Yeah,
oh, I have a question.
sure.
So, if you were starting off today, if you
hmm
were me in 2026 in this economy with this climate and
hmm
everything, like what would you do for these like first I'm gonna like start today. It's like what would you do for the first 90 days to like set yourself up for success?
I would contact everybody in my database. I would tell them exactly what I'm doing. I would beg them for business. I would literally say, "Hi, Cheryl, I haven't talked to you in a really long time, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm actually getting into real estate at this point. And if you know anyone who needs to buy or sell anything, I will do whatever it takes to be a success in this business. And I would be so grateful for your help."
Okay. Okay.
So if you have a database how many people in your database?
A lot. I think
Yeah.
I'm a very social person and I'm
Yeah.
still very plugged in to like every all of I didn't leave on a bad note with campus. Let's put it that.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in a great place to do that. So that would be something I would do. I would hold every open house I could possibly hold open, and I would talk to all the people that came through. And besides trying to sell the house that you're at, I would figure out, there's a lot of rules in place now around buyer broker agreements. So you're going to have to maintain that. But if you find out someone does not have an agent, you can certainly sell yourself to them.
Question. So you would get your license and then just like start going for it? Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. What is
Okay.
life except to go for it, right?
Hell yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just I'll just dust your books, and like whatever. Like I
No,
wasn't
no, 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 no. You're there to sell real estate. You're there to be a lot of people think that real estate agents should just be trusted advisors, which you should be. You should be telling someone the pitfalls of let's say they walk into a property and it smells like water and you know that there must be dampness somewhere. You're going to talk to them about that, what have you. You're going to talk about the flaws of a particular place, but your actual job in part is to close them on selling a house,
okay.
on buying a house, because most people do not want to buy anything that costs $1 million. It doesn't matter who they are. Even if they need a home, when they walk into a house that they want to buy, their first look is not ecstasy. Their first look is like, "Holy shit, I could actually do this." And then they start piling on every obstacle they possibly could to stop themselves. Oh, it's not exactly where I want the school district. It's blah blah. They start doing whatever they can to talk themselves out of it.
Okay.
You're not there to talk them into something, but what you are there to do is to give them a gentle nudge to do what is the right thing if you perceive it as the right thing. You will know if a house is actually right for somebody or not. Let's say they have 5 dogs and there's no yard and they like the house. That's not a good house for those people. But let's say there's a big huge yard and there's enough bedrooms, enough bathrooms. There's a downstairs that could be developed out into a family room that isn't yet. Well, and they start grousing about the fact that there's no family room that's big enough for their pool table, you can point out that you could do X, Y, and Z, and maybe we could go get some bids from people to see what it would cost to sheetrock this and put flooring in. I mean, there are things you can do to show them that there's a potential in a place that they might not have seen. So it's a very gentle balancing act because you don't want to shove anybody into anything, but you also don't want to let them fall into their pit of fear because everybody has a pit of fear. So yeah, I actually have a podcast. Did you check out my podcast?
No.
I have a podcast that's called Realizations, capital RE for real estate.
Okay.
And
It's on your website, I reckon.
it's everywhere. And it basically I bring on people from all different parts of real estate life because I want people to understand what realtors do. And so I've had mayors on, I've had people talking about I had the CEO of Compass, Robert Refkin, on. I most people want to come on my podcast. It's been really strange how popular it is.
Oh, I'm gonna deep dive.
Cool, cool. I love that. And I've been talking to realtors all over the country and finding out how real estate's done. Even in Canada, I found out how real estate's done and, talk with people about what they do. The other thing that if you have a charity or some sort of organization that you really champion as a person, get really heavily involved because that's a great source of business for you at the same time as it is good. Realtors do a hell of a lot of good work in communities. And also, our transfer taxes from sales are basically that is what powers most city governments, and people don't realize it.
Okay.
I would say to lean in to whatever charitable work you're doing, whatever it is. My two concerns are theater and the Berkeley Humane Society. So I promote them wherever I can. And I have a whole coterie of clientele that come just literally from that. I've had people call me up to list their houses because they know how much I love animals.
That's cool.
So yeah, yeah. So if you find that thing that can separate you from all the other realtors, then great. Now, the other thing is personal safety. You want to make sure that you're handling properties in areas that you feel safe in, that you know like the back of your hand. I have over the course of my career, I have represented properties that I had no business handling.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. One time I had a property at Flora and Avenel in the East Oakland area where I came to put my signs out for the open house. And there literally was a gang that had broken into the house, and we're all standing on the porch when I came for my open house. And I called a friend who came and picked me up because I didn't have a car right then, 28 years ago, remember, and didn't do the open house and called the seller and told them what was going on, called the police, did everything that was what I should do. But I'm just saying, if you don't feel safe in a neighborhood, don't sell there.
Okay.
If you don't feel comfortable walking to your car at 10 o'clock at night in a neighborhood, don't sell there. If you don't feel like you are safe ever, walk away from the situation. Back in the old days, oh my God, I used to drive clients around. I'd meet somebody at a location and I would drive them around. Now I always have them come into the office and I meet with them first before I do anything because and also the forms that we have to fill out. Like you have to have a buyer broker agreement before you show anybody anything now. So that actually takes care of that. It's not this sort of thing where you're picking up rando people. I've had friends that have been really in danger. One friend was beaten up, managed to get herself into a bathroom, locked herself in the bathroom, didn't have her cell phone with her, was at the mercy of waiting until somebody came along where she could get help. She was very lucky she wasn't brutalized more than she was. I have had other friends that have been robbed. A very popular thing now in some areas is never ever park in a driveway, always park parallel on the street so that you can get out of there. Because if you park in the driveway, somebody can come and T-bone you across, make it so you can't get out of there, and they assume that realtors have money. So we're easily preyed upon.
Okay.
Don't be at an open house in a neighborhood that you don't feel safe in ever by yourself. If you have to go to an open house that's in the middle of no place, take another person with you.
Okay.
So there's stuff like that you also have to think about. I have a book coming out that is also called Realizations. I'm starting to work on coaching people actually. Compass asked me to teach a class last year, and that was the genesis for the book. And I probably, as time, I'm 69, I'm kind of almost done. So as time goes by, I will probably be branching much more into coaching than doing the level that I mean, right now I'm selling a house a week, usually.
That's incredible.
It is actually, but I'd rather impart that information to other people than keep working 90 hours a week. Because, and by the way, everybody will always say, "Oh, you should work it out so that you work 4 days a week." If you want to be really successful in this business, you will be working 7 days a week and you'll be working crazy hours. And that's just the truth of it. There is no such thing as a free ride. You put in the work, you get like they wrote a newspaper article about me a few years ago that the headline was "The harder she works, the luckier she gets."
Hell yeah. I
Exactly.
love that.
So the reality is all
But that's
these
not luck, that's you.
exactly. And so all these books that say, "Oh, you can do this in 20 hours a week or whatever," it's a bunch of bullshit. That's not going to happen. What can happen is you can be successful enough that you can hire people to do a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily want to do yourself. And that's a great place to get to. That's where I'm at now. But it took me a long time to get here. I have two full-time assistants and I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. I have a full-time transaction coordinator and I have an advertising agency that does my ads for me. And it's a very expensive proposition, so that's the other part of it. I probably spend about $300,000 a year marketing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But it reaps results.
Yeah.
Um, the thing I'm wrestling with right now is how do I ratchet down and competitive as I am, how do I ratchet down from that? Because I see
Yeah.
myself doing this for another 3 to 4 years max.
Yeah. That's amazing. You're so impressive. I
Well,
can't
thank
believe
you.
that you are being so generous with your time with me.
Well, you seem like you're a talented person, and I appreciated that you reached out. Now, you know who's a great, there was a David Brooks just retired, and he was a columnist, I believe, of the Washington Post. If you look up his last column, David Brooks' last column, I don't know what it was called,
Okay.
and read it. It's incredibly inspiring, actually.
Okay. I will read it. I like
Yeah, I know you will. You're that kind of person.
I am that. I will read
Yeah.
it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna look into, thank you for that. I'm gonna look into taking an in-person class. Also, I love role playing. I think it's like
Mhm.
really good for,
Yeah. Oh, it's important.
yeah.
It's really important to because if the other person surprises you, you need to be on your feet. I always suggest that people take improv classes to be real estate agents
Okay.
because you need to be able to think on your feet with the crap that comes up. It's kind of unbelievable the stuff that can come up in real estate. You'd be shocked. You will be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
taken improv classes since like my early college days. So maybe it's time for a refresher.
Yeah, and it's just good to keep you on your feet. One of my dearest friends is a guy named Brian Lohman, and he has a company, Bay Area Theater Sports, out of Fort Mason. They're brilliant. Those people are so good they can improv in iambic pentameter and stuff. I mean, it's like, yeah.
Ah, I love that. Bay Area theater sports. I mean, that was one thing that I also thought was incredible was that you mentioned in your bio your love for the arts and
Mhm.
your background in theater. And I was like, wait, what? I worked at one of three producing theaters in Texas. It's called Zach Theater in
Oh, cool.
Austin. And I worked there for like 8 seasons, and I was a bartender and box office associate and event manager. And, I just kind of I did whatever because I really, really believe in their mission.
Well, that's cool. I am actually one of the if you get to know me better, you'll figure it out. I have like an insane amount of energy, so I do all kinds of things. Like I just published a children's book about a week and a half ago that called Stanley and Emma Go to the Bird Store. My first children's book is called Yo-Yo in a Tree, which is all about another parrot, but you'll see. They're both available on Amazon, but I actually am engaged in the fight of my life to take over the Aurora Theater space in downtown Berkeley.
Oh, really?
And I'm getting my PhD right now in transformative studies, and I want to create a transdisciplinary hub for art and science where I put theater people and scientists, neuroscientists, gerontologists, sociologists, psychologists together to create essentially what I call the third stage, which is a place for discourse about aging. And I have a reading series at the Magic Theater in San Francisco. I'm the artistic director of a production company called Rainbow Zebra Productions. You can look us up, rainbowzebraproductions.org. And we do readings of plays written by, about, and for women over the age of 55. And this last weekend, I did a workshop production of one of the pieces that we had developed 2 years ago at the Magic, and it was incredibly well received. And so I'm gaining impetus. This is my dissertation project, like taking over the theater and creating it. So
Why?
if nothing else, if you don't end up being a real estate agent, I may co-opt you to be a theater manager for me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yes. Should
Yeah.
all do both.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like I'll do I
Yeah.
am that person too. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I can tell that about you. Yeah, and I really appreciate that you took the. Can I ask you a very personal question? How
Yes.
old are you? I cannot tell.
I'm think thank you. I'm 34.
Wow, I would have thought about 28.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah,
That means my
I was
19th
trying to,
birthday.
when you were saying I did this for 12 years, this for 8 years, this for 10 years, I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah. I love to also I got divorced last year. So I like to tell
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm like, what did people say? And then people are like, how old are you?
Yeah,
Because I use
yeah.
that term.
And how long were you married for?
Almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 10 years.
Yeah, no, I got married when I was 19 and got divorced when I was 25. And then I was never ever going to get married again until I was 46 when I met my husband. And we've been very much in love ever since. So
I think that's a better time. I think people should slow their roll a little more. And I wish that I would have been told as a woman, hey, like you're going to do a lot of growing, and
yeah,
you have a lot of energy and you have your whole life ahead of you. And I've never been interested in birthing children. So then
me either.
it's like, so what's the rush then? Like,
Right,
I mean, there should never be a rush, but I think
right.
that there is a certain rush for women before the age of, 45, I guess.
Absolutely. Biological imperative, all that stuff.
Totally. And I get
Yeah.
it. But for
Yeah.
me, I wish somebody would have said, like, you're gonna change so much between.
I personally don't believe anybody is actually grown up until they hit 30.
I agree.
I don't think anybody should do anything drastically major until they hit about 30.
That makes me feel better because now I'm on this path and I keep telling myself, like, this makes way more sense. Like, I was not emotionally prepared or mentally prepared to take this step at 25.
Yeah.
I just have like a very different way of navigating the world and how I interact with people, and like not bringing stuff home and not putting meaning where it doesn't exist. I didn't have any of those tools prior to.
No, of course you didn't because you were a kid.
Exactly.
You're a kid. When I got married at 19, I married a Spanish filmmaker. We
Yeah.
eloped.
Yeah. Yeah. You were
And
basically a child bride.
yeah, and I mean, he was fun and everything, and we're still good friends actually. But and he was like 6 years older than me, and it was terrible. And he was womanizing all over the place and whatever, and I didn't realize it. And then when I did realize it, I blamed myself and the whole,
Yeah.
and I think to myself, God, why did you saddle yourself with that whole situation? So yeah, I think getting married when you're before you're 30 is like not the right thing to do.
No, not the right thing to do. And now the way that I interact with, I'm now I have a boyfriend, but we're both divorced and things are very different. And the way that you treat each other, the way that you navigate things, it's just so different.
Yes.
Like I'm
Yes.
way, I understand that relationships take some sacrifice and give and take, but I'm
Mhm.
unwilling. There are so
You've
many
created
more
some boundaries.
non-negotiables. Yes, exactly.
You've created some boundaries. Whereas when you're like 20 or you're like, woohoo,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's be codependent and like merge our souls or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Kathy and Heathcliff. It's great. Yeah, so very cool. Well, wonderful to meet you, Veta, and I'm rooting for you. So, and I'm here for you. You can call me any old time. And let me know what you think if you read my children's books. Let me know what you think if you come see any of my plays. I have another one I have a reading at the Magic Theater of a play called The Secret Museum on the 9th, 7 o'clock on Monday night.
Magic Theater on the 9th,
Yeah, and that's at Fort Mason Center,
Fort Mason Center. I think I
Building
might be
D.
able to swing that.
I would love it. I would love to meet you. I'll be there.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Also, you have that coming soon sign up here on the hill.
Yep,
May I go
1100
to that?
Miller.
Am I gonna freak you out if I go to your open house?
No, not at all. I probably won't be there, but
Like see how it works and stuff.
yeah, absolutely. My usually Kai is the one who holds open houses for me. I pop in so that I can sort of gauge what's going on, but I personally loathe being at open houses, but he loves them, so
I love that so much. But yeah, I think I'm almost positive I'm free on the 9th. So I'll take a look and then
Yeah.
at Fort Mason Center. So if I just Google that, it'll come up on the calendar.
You go to rainbowzebraproductions.org.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And the calendar of events is there. And yeah, it's a great cast. I'm sorry you missed this. What I just did with this workshop, it was transcendent. It was amazing. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in theater. And the actors were, all of the actors that I work with are just freaking amazing. They're amazing. So, and I have this funny feeling I'm going to pull this theater thing off, at which point I may quit real estate altogether. Who knows? But
That would be amazing.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
amazing. We need more live performances, and I think theater and live music, for example, is
mhm,
so important to creating community. And also every
exactly.
time I go to a play, I just feel more connected to myself and I feel more human.
That's exactly what it's all about. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Ah, well, you're awesome. Be well,
You're
and I
awesome.
hope you just fly, just soar with all this stuff. It's awesome.
Thank you. I'm gonna like just go do it. I'm gonna go do it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I love that.
All right, take care.
All right. You
Bye.
too. Bye.
If you loved hearing from these incredible voices shaping real estate, you'll want to catch what's next. Click the video on screen to keep discovering more inspiring stories.